So today's video on the Industrial Revolution is about Upton Sinclair's novel, The Jungle. So I'm first going to give you some background information, and then I'll give you the information on how to do your left side. And I think Colton might help us out today, right, Colton?
Uh-huh.
All right. So The Jungle was written by Upton Sinclair. He actually wrote over 100 books, and he got some attention for quite a few of them, but probably the one that receives the most attention is this book. So what you're going to do is not read the whole book, obviously, but just 3 pages from it that I gave you in class. This book was published in February of 1906, so just a little over 100 years ago. This isn't ancient history here. Now, Sinclair was a journalist. He was also a Socialist Party member. He even ran for governor of California, the Democratic Party. He spent 7 weeks working with workers in the meatpacking industry in the Midwest. He took a lot of notes about his time there, and he wrote the book The Jungle based on those notes in a small cottage close to Princeton in New Jersey. He really got in with the workers there. He went to work with them, dressed like them, carried a lunch pail so that the bosses wouldn't interfere with him. Talked to their doctors, talked to people that interacted with them so that he got really the true story. Sinclair often said about The Jungle that he aimed at the public's heart, but by accident it hit them in the stomach. So when you read the passages today, you'll see what he meant when he said that. So this is called a muckraker, when you try to stir the muck, make society aware of the problems going on in this society during the Industrial Revolution. So this novel was about 2 things. First, about the exploitation of immigrant workers, specifically Eastern European ones in this case, and also about the health hazards involved with the meatpacking industry near Chicago. Now think before the Industrial Revolution, how did people get their meat? They probably had their own chickens, or they had a butcher in the town. The meat was always from relatively close by. But now as the factory system emerges, people think, well, how can we make this factory system work for the meat industry? And people were now getting meat from animals hundreds, even thousands of miles away. And people read the book about this. And they were appalled by 2 things. They were appalled by the working conditions that the workers were under, and they were also appalled at what they were eating. When they found out what they were eating and what was in that food and what conditions the animals were in, they were pretty disgusted. So as a result, domestic meat consumption fell. Hey, if this is what I'm eating, I'm just not going to eat it. I'll become a vegetarian. I'll go back to killing my own chickens, whatever. And then, remember, this was written in 1906, but within that year, Congress passed the Pure Food and Drug Act and the Meat Inspection Act, and by June of 1906, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, was created. So there were really immediate results for this. The working condition results took a little bit longer, unfortunately, but the food conditions, those results were immediate. And remember, the FDA is still around today. That's the one that creates those nutrition labels and has to approve drugs and all those sorts of things. That did not exist before Upton Sinclair wrote The Jungle. So you can thank him when you know how many grams of protein are in your protein bars. So after you read the excerpts today, you're going to do 2 things. The first thing is a graphic organizer. Then you're going to have to answer a question. So the graphic organizer should be 2 columns. And one side is the problems that workers faced in your reading. And one side is examples of how the food was unsafe in that reading. You want 10 of each. There's more than 10. That won't be a problem. Now here there's 3 questions. You can pause it. Any one question, answer in a very detailed paragraph. You can quote the reading, at least 4 sentences. So, why was the title, The Jungle, was that appropriate? Were the workers treated as objects or as people? Or how were the people like the animals from that reading? So you pick one and a detailed paragraph. So to get full credit, you want to do the 2 lists of 10, and then the 1 paragraph.
That's cool.
You think that's cool, Aurora? That's a bunch of cows about to get slaughtered in that factory in the background there.
Oh.
And that's a bunch of pigs that are about to get slaughtered. None of those pigs are alive anymore. They all ended up in people's tummies over 100 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so it wasn't like going down to your butcher and getting a local pig anymore. This was mass-produced assembly line meat.
They look like they're piggies.
They are piggies. And these are people who worked in that meat packing industry.
Oh.
See, there's a dead pig in the back. And they're working near chemicals.
Let me see.
And they don't have gloves on. And they don't have goggles. It looks very dangerous, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Can
so
I see?
Upton Sinclair let people
Can I
learn
see
all
one?
about that. There you go. Now you can see, Colton. The password today is squeal. You'll see why that comes up in the reading.
Squeal, that's the one like purple.
And see you next class, and maybe we'll have a ham party.
And little Bully will play.